There are many great benefits to high-speed machining applications, the first of which is reducing your cycle times. Reducing cycle times will improve your operator efficiency and production rates, and thus save money in operational costs. An additional benefit is the possibility of improved cutting action and performance. Because you're operating the tool at faster speeds, there actually are lower cutting temperatures, and thus improved tool life. Just like driving down the highway can get you to your location very quickly, there are risks that you are taking by doing that. And some of these risks can be more severe than just getting a speeding ticket. You have to really take into account a lot of factors, like your machine in general, making sure that your machine has good run out, good capabilities on the spindle. Your workpiece fixturing is also important. Now that you have higher speeds, there's more inherent risk of vibrations, so you got to take a look at that. Your materials too. If you're machining steel, for example, you don't need to turn as fast as, say, if you're machining aluminum or something more soft that would really benefit from the high-speed machining purposes. But in general, high-speed machining is a great solution for improving your cycle times, improving tool life even. So for materials and jobs that high-speed machining are perfect for, it's really anything. Obviously, more operational high-speed cases where you want cycle time is the most important factor. That's the more key ones, so high production, lights out machining, aerospace, mold die work, all those precision working processes. Those are the most important, but it's not to say that a job shop, a mom and pop shop, couldn't use these features too. There's a lot of benefits that can be made from all of this. For tool selection specifically on high-speed machining, you want to be careful with the balance of the tool, the quality of the tool, and how it's going to perform in the cut. With a basic conventional tool holder, you have problems of balance where the balance could cause severe vibration, or worse yet, could cause damage because of how fast you're turning those tools. So you want a highly precise tool that's well ground, has no irregularities on the surface, very symmetrical. That way everything will stay on the center line, the weight is all balanced in the center line, and will help prevent any vibration or worse actions from there. Now, the run out of the tool is very important when you're turning this tool so quickly in high-speed machining, and that'll be another key factor with making sure that your cutting tool is staying perfectly on center line. Again, that will help improve your cutting action as well as reduce the possibility of more damage like a crash or an impact. So the first aspect you want to take a look at for maximizing your speed potential is first, obviously your machine is going to be the limiting factor. If your machine can't have a high-speed spindle or does not turn faster than, let's say, 10,000 RPM, then you're going to be limited by that. There are ways around that, of course. There are speeder systems, so a tool that can actually increase the spindle speed or multiply the spindle speed based upon either the input of the spindle or using another system like a pneumatic air turbine system. That would be another way to improve your machine capability to go at higher speeds. So another important aspect is taking a look at your taper connection or your spindle interface. One of the more popular nowadays is HSK systems, where it's very balanced, it's very symmetrical. The deformation is hold on to the tool holder rather than the spindle, and that'll improve your rigidity as well as your concentricity for run-out purposes and vibration. Or you look at another system like a dual contact system, like our Big Plus system, that will also prevent the possibility of shrinkage or growth in the spindle and keep things a lot more rigid. Standard balancing specs for high-speed machining is, of course, like I mentioned before, making sure that your tool is staying on the center line as much as possible. Smaller tools work a lot better than heavy, large tools for high-speed machining. And the balancing standard itself, we have the old standard, the 1940 ISO standard, that really does not actually account a lot into the high-speed machining line, where you're turning tools faster than 20,000 RPM, reaching the 50,000 RPM ranges. In those cases, you would want to look more at the new ISO standard, ISO 16084. There is a misnomer that 3D printing or additive machining is going to take away from the subtractive machining world, milling and lathe work like this for high-speed machining. But in reality, it's actually going to complement it quite a lot. You're going to have cases of hybrid machining where you're going to have a 3D printer print up a part all the way up to its full state, but then you need to finish it with high-speed machining like this to be able to subtractively take away material to make it more precise, get it cleaned up. And this is all going to be complementary between additive and subtractive machining, and it's just going to make it more important to adopt these kinds of new standards and new processes like high-speed machining.